Welcome to A Table in the Wilderness. Pull up a chair. There's a place for you at the table.
Thomas, you telling the joke?
Maybe next time.
You better not. Better not. So we're here today, again, continuing conversations about balance. And in our previous episode, if you haven't listened, please go back to that. We were talking about balance in our daily lives. And so we touched on a little bit about family.
Yes.
And so we want to kind of continue that conversation, just talking about balance within our families. And we don't know where this will go. We don't know.
Exactly.
But I'm sure it'll be, hopefully it'll be good for you.
But make sure you
Make sure you like, subscribe, leave us a review.
That's right.
Let us know where you're listening from. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
So here at
Yes,
the
we
table, we have Sister Brenda Bailey. We have Sister Adriene Johnson. We have Brother Thomas Johnson, and then myself.
Thank you.
Who is yourself?
Me.
He's the bishop.
I'm the bishop, elder
Bishop
deacon,
Bailey.
bishop, pastor.
Yes. So just kind of continuing on, talking about balance in our families. And this one is personal because, we have ministry and we have family that kind of overlaps constantly. And so we just kind of want to talk about and get perspective on, how we find balance in our homes. It's a very important thing.
Yes.
Because outside of our work and ministry and everything else, I mean, we got to come home to people.
Yes.
We do.
Yes.
and we have to make sure that we love them well, and we we take care of them, and
Especially
we
your
can't fall
husbands.
by the wayside.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
That came out of my
neglect
mouth.
Wives, take care of your husbands, or something like that. But
Yeah.
I can't remember what that scripture was. It was something similar.
Is it what reference?
Hezekiah 6 and 8. New Testament version.
So I'll start us off all spiritual.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 6:6-7. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou layest down, and when thou risest up.
And that right there tells you the importance of having God at the center of everything.
Family.
Yeah. It has to be at the center of you. It has to be at the center of your family. These words which I command you this day shall be in thine heart, and you shall teach them diligently to your family, to your children. That's first and foremost. We were talking about the last time, we were talking about setting that list of priorities and God being number one, but family has to be number two. Even as a pastor, the church is important to me. The church is here, everyone here is important to me, but my family is first and foremost.
Yes.
And I hope I do that, but I can look back early in my life and I can see where I didn't have balance in my family life. With God at the center, I was talking with someone today and we were just talking about, I guess I did. I don't remember praying a whole lot with my kids sometimes when they were small. I know we did some, but I wish now I would have done more in that it would have made an impact in my life so that I remembered it.
Right.
Yes.
And I think, too, especially at the point that we are in our lives, and we had said in that last episode, too, Pastor and I are in a different point in our lives than what Brother Thomas and Sister Adriene are. So our children are grown and kind of moved on, and they're living their own lives now. But, we can always look back and see where we could have improved on what we have done. But at that point in time in our lives, I think we were doing the best that we knew how.
Of course.
And of course, we have learned so much more now. And that's why we can look back and say, I wish I had done things a little bit more. But I think we have also made everything such an important part. It made God an important part of our kids' lives that they are focused on that now, and it is important for them. So,
But But they're thriving adults.
Yes.
They are thriving.
And so when
Godly
you're talking about
adults,
things that are caught versus taught, they have caught a lot of things.
Right.
I mean, and Thomas and I got to see that firsthand a little bit just because of our relationship, but also we, led them in our youth group. And so when we look at them now, the things that they were doing as teenagers has, set them up.
Right.
Yes.
But they learned that because they watched you all do the things that were important, not just the spiritual stuff, but making sure that they had good work ethic, making sure that they're doing a lot of the things that you all were doing.
Right.
Yes.
As you were rearing them, so to speak.
Right.
And it makes me, as a pastor, it shows me that it's something I need to teach more on or talk to the church more about, is that you need to spend time with your kids, praying with them, reading with them, setting a schedule, setting a priority in that family life. But balance in the family is not just about kids, because it's about balance in your relationship with your husband, your wife.
Correct.
Balance in your responsibilities as a husband, your responsibilities as a wife. And even for children, they have responsibilities as being part of the family. They have to balance in their lives as well. The children has to have as much balance in their lives as much as the parents do.
Yes.
So for us that are in ministry, especially when we're so involved in ministry, and the four here are heavily involved in ministry, it's a struggle sometimes to remember that we have to find that balance in our family life as well. So,
Right.
But I think also you talked about praying with them, but there's also the other side of them seeing it in action, not
Right.
just being told it, but if you live it around them, they
Correct.
see
yes.
that balance.
Live
This is
by
what you need to do.
example.
Yeah.
Yes, that
The
live by
cult.
example. Yes,
Yes.
the cult, exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is, one, I wish that the kids would see me praying in my daily devotion more regularly. I pray with them at school. This morning, Helena, when we were driving to the high school, dropping Kenneke off, we were getting to the exit. Usually I try to hold their hands, I stick my hand out, and I didn't do that. Kenneke and I were talking about something, and Helena was in the back seat, threw her hand up. She was like, we going to pray? And I was like, oh, yes.
And she understands the balance, but she's caught that, and she's been taught it, but she's also caught it.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah, but I wish that I still have time. I need to do that. I want them to be able to see me do the things, because most of the time I do it when they're not around. And
Right.
so if I can, take the time to do that during the day, during the time that they're around in the evening or whatever, that they can see that, and hopefully they'll be able to catch on in their own personal walk. But again, Helena, I'll brag on her a little bit. Of course, with Joel, we are not, we're busy in the evenings and, caught up with him. And so she started to pray on her own in the evening. And I just thought that was really neat because, nobody told her, you need to go and do it.
She just does it.
Yeah, just does it. And it's the same thing I know of Nicholas, where's Nick? If I've been talking to Sister Brenda, where's
He's
Nick?
in the
Oh,
closet.
He's in his closet.
He's in his closet.
But where did he get that? He got that
Yes.
from paying attention to what his parents were doing.
And
So
seeing what we were doing.
yeah, more
The
caught than
relationship.
taught. Yeah.
So that's weird. So that's what I wonder what that says about faith, is that they didn't see it at church, they saw it at home. There's more things that have to be taught spiritually at home than at church, because we spend such little time in church.
Right.
As far as in service, 3 hours, Sunday school has 45 minutes. We're here 3 hours. You hear 45 minutes worth of teaching, another preaching message, another, that preacher in Hollybrook only goes 20 minutes or 25 minutes or 45 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
But then, then we'll have Bible study or youth service or whatever. So you have very limited opportunities to really learn at church.
Yes.
So faith in God, your walk, your balanced life with God in your family has to be established at home.
Yes.
And it's
It
up
does.
to the parents. It's up to the home. It's up to the parent to lead that. Me as a dad, should be the spiritual leader at home.
Yes.
That's my personal responsibility. If you're single, a parent home and you're a wife, there's a little bit of imbalance there because now she has to take on a responsibility if one is in church, one is saved and one is not. There's a little bit of an imbalance there because that head of the home is not there. And so the wife is spiritually taking on that, or if there's no husband or if there's no mom there, if it's just the dad, there's a balance missing. So then everything has to be rebalanced. Yes. Then, that's where I was talking about last time about the teeter-totter and having to shift responsibilities. You may have to shift responsibilities to find the balance that you need as a family, but it takes work.
Yes,
it does.
It takes effort.
But going back to that scripture, Deuteronomy 6, verses 6 and 7, the parent responsibility is to teach the children when we are sitting at home, when we're walking
the way
daily walk, when you lie down, when you get up first thing in the morning. That is parent responsibility there.
I mean, we got wonderful Sunday school teachers here.
Great.
I mean, especially that adult Sunday school teacher.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, never mind.
The bestest.
Humble
He's
brag.
the bestest.
Right.
But yes, I mean, we cannot if we just leave that to the only thing our kids get. I mean, they get taught more at school.
Yes. They spend a lot more time on the bus. They spend more time on a bus.
What are they picking up in the cafeteria?
Yeah.
What are they picking up anywhere? It takes doing it at home, setting the example.
Something very, very wise I heard, and I have used it since then. You need to be the loudest voice in your child's life. You're not going to be the only voice, but you need to be the loudest voice.
Indeed.
They need, when something is going on, they need to be able to come to you.
Yes.
And feel comfortable enough discussing whatever's happening in their life and knowing that you're going to be someone that is going to have some wisdom to help them with or just to help direct them in the right path. Be the loudest voice. They've got friends, they've got teachers that may not be putting them in the right direction or turning them in the right direction.
Your friends.
Choose your friends
wisely.
Yes.
Yeah. Who are you letting at your table?
That's
right.
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 And
Somebody
so
should preach a message about that.
that's the truth.
I felt the Brother Coleman on that one.
Amen.
Yes.
But it takes relationship to do that. So we go back to balance. Balance takes work. Relationship takes work. And so as a parent, you have to be the parent to the child. And as the child gets older, the parenting changes.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to be the confidant, that person that they feel comfortable. And if they don't feel comfortable coming to you, they're going to someone. So you better find out who that person is. And it better be somebody you trust them with. So you better have the balance in your family. You better have the balance that you know what's going on in your children's life. And you're not afraid to ask them. That's one of the things I thank God that I was never afraid to ask them what was going on. If I saw them down, if I saw something, I didn't leave it alone. I nagged and nagged and nagged until I found out what the problem was.
I didn't know you were a nagger.
I'm a Naganite. I'm a Naganite. That's in the Bible somewhere. But I wouldn't leave it alone, and so I wanted to know, even if the problem was me, which, sometimes the problem was, I know, Dad. Dad did something or another that upset them, but I didn't care if it was me because I didn't want them to go to some of the dark places that I knew my mind went when I was a kid or whatever. I didn't have really, really dark places. I struggled with a little depression once in a while, but it was nothing serious. But I didn't want them knowing what today's age is and how things
much more they have to deal with,
how more dangerous it is too.
Yes.
That I wanted to make sure I knew where they were at. I wanted to make sure where their thoughts were, and so as a spiritual head, as the head of the home, I forced it. They may not have liked it, but tap, 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 tap on the head until I find out the problem. So you better have that relationship with your kids. You better have that. And it's not just the kids, though. You better have that relationship with your spouse.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, my whole job is basically relationships.
Yeah.
Nobody works for me, but I got to get part A that customer wants through a shop floor of a bunch of different departments and shipped out to the customer. They're relying on me. none of these people work for me, but somehow I got to get them to help me out to get this project through. And it all comes down to relationships. There's so much, if you can just build relationships, there's so much that you can get just by having the right relationship. I have a relationship with everybody around here. I can come to the pastor, my wife, Sister Brenda, for something.
And we
have a relationship. And it takes not being the Martha all the time and just busy, and to stop and actually build the relationship.
Right.
Tapping them on the head, like you said, and hey, until you get some information
How was your day?
out.
Take the time. Again,
And
there's a
listen
season for
after
every
you ask
purpose.
them.
Yes. There's a season for every purpose. And if you have children, the season to be a parent is right now.
Yes.
And there's a season to being a spouse. And if you have a husband and you have a wife, the season is right now. And hopefully it's until death do you part. So
Right. I was going to say that one is a constant.
That's constant. Yeah.
So can I throw out something here for the table?
No.
Just anybody that wants to discuss
Is it
this?
an appetizer?
Oh, that'd be good. What do we have?
Nothing hot. No jalapenos.
No jalapeno.
Spicy.
Pinos.
For anybody on here that may be listening, what if they're saying to us, okay, I get that, but my family, everything's priorities, everything's blown up, we're all out of whack. What's some advice we can give the family to say, this is what you need to do to help reset the priorities, help bring this together, to help balance your family?
Okay, so you have to allow God to do it. And so you have to jump into Psalms 127:1. Except the Lord build, except the Lord keep. You have to allow God to build the house, and you have to allow God to keep the house. We go back to the center. We go back to that central vertical axis, is you have to have God at the center of it. If you have no balance, you've got to start with the point of what you're going to balance on. So then you allow God to build your house. And if you allow him to build your house, then the labor that's spent in building it is not in vain. It's not worthless. What you put, because you do the work, okay, the laborer laboreth in vain. Okay, I'm doing the work, but I'm allowing God to build the house.
Yes.
Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Okay, so I'm still building, I'm still working on it, but God has to be this. He has to be the foreman.
And the chief cornerstone.
The chief cornerstone
that you build the house off of.
Yeah, he has to be that, and then you allow God to keep it. You allow him to clean it, to sweep it up. You allow him to have the preeminence in the home.
We'll go back to that word, allow.
Allow. You have to allow God. You can't have the fingers of control. You have to allow God to say, okay, you shouldn't be watching this. You shouldn't be listening.
But I'd rather go this way.
Yeah. Right.
Jesus, jerk the wheel.
Yeah, Jesus, jerk the wheel. Don't just take it, jerk it sometimes. But if you allow him to keep it, then the watchman is not waking up in vain. If you allow him to keep it, then everything has its purpose, and it will be.
It's not in vain.
It's not in vain. It has a purpose. It has a reason, and it will work. But if you try to keep the house yourself, if you do the things the way you want to, I'm going here. We're going to do this. We're going to allow everything to run amok in my home, and I'm not going to allow God to keep it and sweep it and take care of it and do the maintenance on it. And I'm going to do all this myself. Then the watching of your house, you're wasting your time. Yeah. You're wasting your time worrying about your kids.
All the prepping.
All the prepping that you tried to do yourself is
without
wasteful.
God there. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask this question then. So if you've got, and I'm asking this question from a point of view of somebody out there listening to what we're discussing now. So if you are out of balance right now and you are out of control, how do you hit the reset?
Well, we just said God.
God,
but give some practical things.
Because I think sometimes in our
God.
ordinary lives, like how do we weave faith into our ordinary lives?
Faithfulness.
To the house of the Lord.
Faithfulness to the house of God.
Which means you're
faithfulness
doing things
with prayer. Faithfulness in studying the word. Faithfulness to your family.
You have to be intentional about these things.
It's work.
Yes, it is.
It is balance.
It takes relationship.
Relationship. It's all about effort. You have to put effort into it.
Right.
So you have to put effort into balancing your home. So that means you don't take that fishing trip that you spend time with your wife.
Do it all at the same time, but start.
Yes.
Right.
You got to start somewhere.
Sometimes, like we said, burnout. You can't throw it in all at one time, but hey, this week I'm going to focus on getting us to church on Sundays.
Right.
This week, let me go to Bible study,
Or
adult
it
Bible
could
study,
be-
something like that. Or let's start
Friday night,
taking an
Saturday.
hour.
Yes.
Let's take an hour out of every day, guys. Set down our phones. Let this be our prayer, Bible
Right.
reading time, or
Do
ask
it together
questions
as a
times.
family.
Yes.
In the living
Yeah.
room,
Yeah.
on the couch.
And it could be 30 minutes now for a couple weeks, and then,
Build upon
an
that.
hour build if you just start. Sometimes it's just starting in.
Right.
Okay, and so this gets really deep, and this is going to be really hard. This is going to be hard, and this can hurt. Okay, so if all you and your spouse are about is working and making money, you're out of balance.
Yes.
So what may have to happen, you may either have to change jobs, you may have to not work as much, you may need your spouse not to work, and you may need to learn to live like Brother
do it.
Tom said. You work on it. He doesn't want to work. He wants Sister Adriene to work. is
Oh,
what it is.
sorry.
Oh,
Never
yeah.
mind.
But you may have to. Okay, we're going to do with less.
Yeah.
I don't need the side by side. I don't need this. I need balance in my family. I don't need the new gun, and I don't need the new car, and I don't need the new whatever. What I need is balance in my life. What's most important? So
I just hit me while I was talking. You had sent me something, and I don't know if she was a Christian woman or something, but she was talking about,
I know what you're talking
you know what I'm talking
about.
about?
I do. It was an interview. It was on a podcast, and the name escapes me right now. But basically, when she had started her career, done
Good
very
career,
well,
yes.
very good career, and then they wanted to have children, and then they waited a while, but had children, and then they had just decided, she and her husband, they sat down and they said, okay, we are going to have someone have flexibility to be with kids, to raise them, and one of them's not going to work. It ended up being the wife, the mom. And she was just saying, we weren't doing all of the things that our friends were doing. We weren't going on the vacations. We weren't, living in extravagance. They weren't doing anything real big. He was working and she was raising the kids at home. She was just talking about how it was important for a parent to be at home, namely the mother, to be at home with the kids, and not every situation is going to be able to look this way. Not everybody's going to be able to
stay at home.
But for their family, that is what took priority. And they ran with that for all those years. And then once the kids got into school, then she went back to work, but she went back to work very minimally.
yeah.
And
Brenda
it
was
takes
the same
sacrifice.
way. Yeah, Brenda was the same way. So we were two incomes. We had Heather. Nicholas comes along, and she's getting ready to go back to work. She decides, I don't want to. She made as much money as I did. And so it was like, okay, now all of a sudden our salaries are going to get cut in half, and thank God we didn't have any payments at the time. We were renting, and we owned everything that we had pretty much. But I told her, I said, okay, this is fine, but here's what's going to happen. There's no going to go do this, and there's no doing that. And, when we went on vacations, we went to my sister's house because we just hung out with there. We would go do certain things. And when we would go out to eat, we would split meals because we didn't have the extra cash to be able to do. We made the sacrifice for her to be able to do that. And then eventually it came to where she could go back to she started working in the schools with doing the same
When the
things.
kids started school, I went to school too.
Yeah. The cool thing about, though, when you do this, everybody thinks, okay, we got to have two incomes. We got to do this. We got to have all this money come in. One thing it does when you go to one income, it changes your tax bracket.
Indeed.
It changes your tax bracket. Then all of a sudden you begin to find out you're not paying as much taxes. Yeah. And all of a sudden that one, you're bringing home more out of that one check. And then you tend to buy less. And then you have fewer things that you have to take care of, and you're not buying the new cars, and you're not having to pay taxes on the new cars and stuff. So you find ways to save money if you can do it. Not everybody can do it. We're not saying that you have to do that, but if you're out of balance in your family and in your home, you have to find the balance, and you have to sit down and decide, we need to find out what we need to do. We need to figure out how to do it. And if there's a will, there's a way, especially when you have God and you're allowing him to build the house and allowing him to help establish the balance. It's funny how God will work things out.
Absolutely.
When you have a desire and you're doing it for the right reason, you're doing it to please God, you're doing it for your family.
Again, that goes back to priorities too, because what are your priorities as a family? Is it having things, doing things, or is it being together, building relationships?
Right.
And you have to decide what those priorities are.
Yeah. Some of our funnest times was when the power was out and we were just camping out in the living room.
Right. You can ask our kids. They were, no power. So you have one camp light that you're working by. So we're playing games, no electronics, because of course there's no electricity. And so then you're together, you're doing things together, and you're finding you're having more fun too.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be times where even when the power was on, the kids would come in and say, can we pretend the power's out? So that we just have that together time.
No, I'm turning the generator on. I'm sorry. I got two of them.
Which one?
Which one? Shut up, Thomas.
But you will find,
Shut up, brother Thomas.
You can ask any child and they will tell you they value time with you rather than things from you.
Yeah.
When you have balance at home, it protects the home.
It does.
It's God, allowing God to keep it. Protects peace, protects unity, protects their faith, and it protects them as they grow up. It will lead to well-balanced and rounded children.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And when we're talking about children, we're talking about kids and stuff, but we can hit as much on spouse as anything else.
Yes.
I have to have a balance with my wife. We just can't be all about work. We can't just be all about the children, because if all you do is you live your life for your kids and through your kids, and you're traveling with sports and you're running your guts out with that, when the kids turn 18, 19, 20 and they're gone, all of a sudden you're looking at your wife and you're just like,
Who are you?
Who are you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You
Do we
have
know what to do together?
Yes.
Do we know how to hang out?
I know. Can you hang out with your...
And some people forget how to do
Yeah.
that. And so then when
Can
the
you
kids...
have fun together?
Right. And then when the kids leave home, then the marriage falls apart
Or the
because
buddies
you
or
don't have that relationship
or
anymore.
the friends, the girls group is not hanging out together. Now you're looking at your husband like, I don't know who you
It's
know.
been a minute since
What
we
are we
hung
supposed
out.
to do?
I don't know what to,
Find things that you like to do with your spouse.
Yes.
Find things that, because it's till death do you part.
Yes.
And eventually it's just going to be the two of you, and you have to figure that out. Whether it's ride bikes, whether it's walk, whether it's hike, whatever it might be.
Time of rest. You gotta
A
have
time
that
of
time
rest.
of rest
Right.
just with
Yeah.
your family.
You can build relationship just by resting
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
or taking
And
naps with
resting
Joel.
could be,
It's my
and that
favorite
doesn't mean
thing.
just laying down. I mean, you're
No.
resting by just getting away, taking
Getting
that
away.
walk,
Taking a little quick vacation, get somebody
driving
to
around the community.
Get
Right.
somebody to watch the kids. The grandparents take care of the kids and take 1 or 2 days. Now, don't abuse that. Don't
No.
have them.
Yes.
No. Don't overwork the village.
Don't overwork the
Exactly.
village.
Yeah.
As Linda Bailey said, they're yours. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah.
But there are times we have found just in our relationship that you just have to get away, even if it's just for a long weekend.
Yep.
You've got to get away just to do that reset mentally, physically, in our relationship with each other. And you have to get away from home, because at home
Yes.
you always see all the responsibilities and all the things that need to be done. If you get away, then it's all about relaxing and spending time together.
Yeah.
Why do you think that it's easy to sometimes put your family on the back burner? They're the ones that kind of suffer, the most. Why is it so easy to neglect those relationships instead of, putting your full focus?
In my opinion, it's because those are the people that we love, and they love us, and they're supposed to love you in
Yes.
spite of
They're the
the
closest.
good, the bad, the ugly,
You
whatever.
hurt the closest people.
You usually
You do. And so those are the ones we feel we can be more comfortable with, more real with. And
They're
if
more
you-
forgiving.
They're more
Yeah.
forgiving.
When
Right.
you
So
grouchy-
if I'm having this bad day and I blow up, well, they're just going to forgive me and we can still go on.
Thomas, when you're around which person in your life is the most grouchy with you?
You can say my name. It's okay.
He's thinking. He's thinking.
I would say
It was that person there. So you're saying that is the person that you're mostly grouchy
yes,
with?
it would be
Oh, so-
that would be her.
well, okay.
That person.
Yeah.
That person.
That person.
You didn't say. But who you were talking about was okay.
They're having
Sorry.
too much fun. I will admit it. I know me.
We didn't say your name.
Oh, no, let's
it
just
is-
go ahead and put it all out on the table.
It is easier. I mean, do I want the pastor to think that I'm not going to help him out when he needs help, or my wife? I can blow her off to make the pastor think that I'm good. Let me go make sure I help him out.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather his feelings not get hurt, and then try to fix that later on.
Because she's gonna forgive you.
Yeah.
She
Or
has-
you, or
she
you
has
think
to.
she will.
Yeah. Oh, she
Or
has
I'll
to.
tell
It's
her the
biblical.
Bible says
It
she's
is.
got to
It's
repent.
biblical.
Right.
Yeah. Before
He's
I
the Lord.
bring my gift, I'm going to
He's
have
the
to
Lord over the
repent.
household.
So I have always
Abraham.
thought that. So that because those are the ones that we live with, those are the ones we're closest to, they're going to forgive us. They're going to overlook our bad that,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But the pastor doesn't have any bad. He's perfect.
I don't have any bad. No pressure. Complete balance in my life. Yep, I got it going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true. I mean, I feel like sometimes I can do all day. And then when I get home or I've, get with my family, they get my leftovers.
Yeah.
And that's not cool
No.
at all.
we have talked about, Pastor and I have talked about that too. And I feel like I'm the one that is very, very guilty about just giving leftovers, which is
Yes.
not good. Because
I get leftovers.
Because it's time for bed.
And sometimes Nicholas takes the leftovers with him to work, and I don't even get the leftovers. That's terrible. And we're not,
I'm talking about food.
food there, but
So it's just a matter of, again, prioritizing and being intentional.
intentional. That should be a
About.
word that we're really, when it comes to balance, you have to be very
intentional.
intentional about balance. And you have to, you have to rebalance once in a while.
You
Yes.
do.
You have to, it's like you have to recalibrate. Yeah. Because balance today is not what balance will look like in 10 years.
Right.
Or what it was
So-
10 years ago.
I'm not a musician. You're a musician.
Yes.
If you
Oh,
never,
am I a musician?
I mean, the greatest.
The greatest.
I can see your bass and guitar for here. If you never tune those things ever again, you got it perfectly tuned, but then you play on it and never tune it up. How's that going to sound a
Gonna
year
sound-
down the road?
It's going to sound sour. So it
Yes.
needs work every now and
Needs
then.
work.
Yeah. So it needs
Just
to be
like your
Because
family
strings,
life, tune
strings
it up.
get worn out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to replace those strings.
Like a wife. She
No,
gets
Oh, no.
you can't
Oh.
replace those things.
Wait a minute, wait there,
You
wait
can't
there.
replace those things. But you have to take care of what is most important, right?
Yes.
Sorry, can we edit that out? Well, luckily it's just us and nobody else is going to
Oh,
hear
that's
that.
right.
That's
We're
right.
just at the table. Nobody's listening.
But you have to take care of what's important.
Yes.
And we have found there are weeks where we have got so much going on. My husband and his 5 different hats that he wears, not just church, not just home, not just work, but school board and whatever else he's doing.
Mowing yards.
Deck.
Trying to take care of
All of his generators.
other families and right. So there's a lot of things going on, and we have found there are weeks where we literally pass each other
In the same house.
in the same house, and we don't spend. And when we get to the end of the week, we are feeling it,
Yeah.
and we are feeling that disconnect, and so we have to stop and be intentional
Yep.
about
Fine-tune.
spending that time
Fine-tune,
together. Otherwise, I start getting really, really grouchy. He starts getting grouchy.
I do not.
because we have missed that connection. So
Sister Brenda.
you've got to be intentional.
You just take another blood pressure pill. He'll be okay.
Oh, my.
I slip her one of mine.
When I don't even know it.
So just talking about responsibilities and things like that, because I think, it's evident that we do need to focus on families and making sure that our spouses are okay, our kids are okay, and we reset some of those priorities when everything gets out of whack. But so what does it look like when we are trying to reset those priorities within our family, with our spouses, with our kids, in our home? How are we resetting those priorities? Where are we learning how we need to pull back, or what does that look
I
like?
think it looks like in communication. I think it does. I think,
You have to communicate.
I think, we were talking about recalibrating, and balance today is not going to look the same in 5 years, and it's not going to look in 10 years. And so at some point, somebody has to step up and say, you know what, we need to look at our life and we need to rebalance. And so then you have to start looking at what your priorities are. Priorities may have changed. You may be, the kids are no longer in elementary school, and maybe, again, they're doing sports or whatever else, and you're in the thick of sports, or maybe they're coming out of sports and now all of a sudden that's not important. And then you're left with, what do we do with all this time or whatever? So you have to communicate, you have to sit down, you have to start looking at, I don't do it enough, but I'm a list person. I like making lists or making mental lists or checking things off and stuff. And so, I think you have to, as a husband, wife, as kids, even kids, you have to sit down and the kids, and you can even ask your kids, what's a priority to you? What's important? As a child, Heather, Nicholas, do you want to learn to hunt? Would you rather just hang out with mom and dad on hikes and things like that? So,
yeah, that's good.
Thomas, what do you think? What does it look like when you rebalance?
I agree with you.
He agrees with me. See, that's why I like Thomas. He's like-minded.
I was about to take the offering plate out. That was just pretty good.
No, again, and I think that's really good, being able to communicate with the people who you are building these relationships with, to say, we have had a really busy week. What would be something that we could do together that can bring us back? Because
spending that time.
I mean, if you're thinking about, church and work and, sports or whatever that looks like, and we feel out of whack, what is going to bring us closest together?
Right.
And
communication. So talking about Candy Cane, Helena, if you all sit down together, say, listen, we've had a busy
Joel.
week. Well, he's not talking right now.
He's not.
We know what his priorities are.
His demands are feed me.
Yes. Feed me and let me sleep.
Yeah.
So, but if you sit down
Sounds like
together and
balance.
you all talk, so what may be Brother Thomas's idea of relaxing and connecting may not be Candy Cane's idea.
Yep.
So that's where it takes the communication and
give and take.
Give and take, compromise.
Yep.
You may have to just, everybody say, well, that's not really what I want to do, but we know it's going to be best for everybody. So yes, this is going to work best. So again, that's that communication there.
Absolutely.
And you have a limited time.
You do. That's right.
Seasons don't last forever.
Nope.
And so as every season changes, you have a limited time to get it right, to get it done, whether it's raising your kids, getting your kids through elementary school, getting them through high school, getting them to college. Once they're out, you have a limited time with your spouse. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. So you have to live with no regrets. No regrets. And you have to make sure you can't be so focused on money and job. I know we want to retire one day, but you can focus on that later. Yeah. Let's focus on relationship.
And I think, and not just money and work, but even going to the extremes we talked about. If my whole life I didn't give my balance in and I just did ministry, ignore my wife, ignore my kids, then eventually
you're going to have a family that
it may
doesn't
be
appreciate church. They won't appreciate church. They will hate the ministry because it has taken dad away from them.
And to the ministry, it may look successful. They may be like, oh, look, he preached at some big conference and he did this and look what he's doing here. And he spent time in this missionary field, did all this stuff, but
you wasn't very successful as a family. Yeah. Well, my sister tells a story. She saw, whatever organization it was at the time, she was at a conference or something, and here's a famous minister, and he's talking to somebody, and their child is trying to get his attention, and he's just kind of shoving them off to the side, like, I'm talking to this person, and here's your child trying to get your attention to tell you who knows what, and you're shoving, and so that's, you're the most important thing in your life at that time, that God gave you that arrow. It's in was it grandchildren arrows in the quiver, or was it
children?
So
a quiver full.
So that arrow in your quiver is wanting to get your attention, and you're shoving it off to the sides. Yeah. So I would rather, as a pastor, as a minister, be successful in my family and be mediocre in my ministry, because I have responsibility to my wife and my children beforehand.
But I believe if you get that balance, you won't be mediocre.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yep.
Yeah. And I did hear a minister on another podcast at one point say, you don't want your family to resent the ministry.
Yeah.
You want them to love it as much as you do.
You don't want them to resent God.
Yes.
Right? Because a lot of what our view of God is apparent. Or,
right.
If you're looking at your Heavenly Father and you're thinking, oh, his priority is not me.
Yeah. Dads don't listen to you.
I like somebody, I guess it's probably Thomas has this thought. Before God built a nation, he taught his people how to live daily. Balance isn't about doing less, it's about living right. And God, he had Adam and Eve before he had a mega church.
Oh, true.
You know, he had villages of people. He had a little house on the prairie living off their own before everybody had these big mega churches and working ministry.
Living successfully.
Yeah. That's the most important. You can have your mega church. That's fine. You can have your small country church, whatever. But you better have a successful balance in your family life.
Exactly.
Because that's what God's going to judge you on. He's not going to judge you on how big of a church you went to or how great your ministry was. It's what kind of a husband was I? What kind of a leader at home was I? What kind of a wife? And if you're a child, if you're a kid today and you're listening to this, what kind of a kid was I to my parents? Was I obedient? Did I help out around the house?
Did I honor mom and dad,
did I
like
honor
the
my
Bible
mother?
said?
Because if you didn't, your days on this earth may not be long.
How much time do I got left?
Yeah.
I was a good kid. Really?
I'm a good kid. I'm a good guy.
So even just, thinking about not just balance, talking about giving attention to our spouses or kids and things like that, but when we're talking about even just discipling them, not just the spiritual, but just for life, we need to let them see so many things, right? We need to let them see repentance. We need to let them see us pray. We need to let them see our faithfulness to church, but we also need to let them see
grace, mercy.
And mercy. They need to see rest.
Yeah.
They need to see
wisdom and knowledge. They need to see us being peacemakers.
Yes.
They need to see those things.
One thing too, and I think so often because we don't want people to see our mistakes or see our failures, we don't let our children see that either. But they need to see that if you make a mistake, there is a way to correct that, or there is forgiveness, or you can go on from this, that a mistake doesn't end anything. Right. I once heard it said this way: the pencil was created with an eraser for a reason.
Sure. Yeah.
And that, you said that, and that is one reason I love the Bible. It could have been wrote any way, but it was wrote with the mistakes in there.
Amen.
Now, I'm not talking about they wrote mistakes in there,
right.
But you see people that had flaws.
David wrote about himself, and he did not mind to write about his mistakes that he done.
And he wasn't a great dad.
No. There was some issues.
Look through the Bible and find great dads.
Yeah.
Find great dads in the Bible. They're in the Old Testament.
Be a good Father's Day message.
It'd be a great Father's Day message.
Yeah.
But it is. They give us the problems in there to show us, hey, Peter denied Jesus 3 times, but he still preached the first.
Right.
I mean, there is that forgiveness. We need to let our kids
can't
know
be afraid to
messed up.
Right.
And they need to see it. They need to see that we're not going to be perfect all the time.
And that's
we're not
part
going to
of
be
balance.
on. Yeah,
right.
We're not going to be on. There's too many people are afraid to allow people to see them make mistakes or see
because
that
we're
they
afraid
are flawed.
Their opinion of us is going to change.
And the moment that something happens and they see that, then they're just going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Duane is flawed. I'll tell you guys right now.
I know of a
Adriene
pastor that loves when he's up there preaching to tell us about all of his mistakes. I mean, he just tells us.
Yes, I'll tell you, I'm flawed. It doesn't bother me. So
that poor old woman in the cold.
But the thing about that is we realize that, you know what? They're not perfect. I don't have to be perfect either.
Because if they try to live that, they're going to be out of balance.
Yeah.
They think they got to live perfect.
Or when they do make a mistake,
that there's no coming back from that.
Yes.
And we don't want them to know that, think that either. So
share your mistakes that you made growing up when you were your kids' age. Let them see you're not proud of them, but you also say, "This is what I did. And this is how I overcame. This is how I overcame. This is the struggles that I had."
Yeah.
And especially if it's emotional things, they may end up going through the exact same things that you went through. So you want to help them navigate that.
Yes.
And so knowing that, okay, so, I knew how I was growing up. I knew that there was a chance that my kids might go through some of the same things. So I didn't want to see them go through that. So I nag.
Yeah. Something, as parents, we want to protect our children. We don't want them to experience some of the very same things that we went through. But the problem with that is that if we put our kids in bubble wrap, then they aren't going to be strong. And when problems of life do happen, they're not going to know how to navigate that.
Yeah.
So we have to let them experience some things. And when they do go through those kind of things, sometimes we have to step back and let them make the decisions and navigate through those things themselves. And that's hard as a parent.
You want to protect them from everything.
Yes.
I don't want them to go through this. I don't want them to feel this.
Yes, but we have to let them go through some things so that
to learn something,
and to get stronger, so that the roots go deep. Build the strong foundation. Let the roots go deep, and then when the storms come, they're going to be able to withstand that, and they'll have the knowledge to know how to make the right decisions.
Yeah, this has been some great conversation on families, balancing our families. And, if you missed the one before, go back to it. That was balance in our lives, because we need balance in our lives.
Yes.
So this is great. We actually have more to go on balance. So you may hear a few more
Thomas
lessons
just turned
on
the
balance.
lights off.
So
wrap it up. You.
So we're gonna bring this to an end here today. So hit the wrong button there.
Oh, you're celebrating that we're ending this thing?
So until next time, take what God has given you today, walk in His rhythm, and we'll meet you here at the table on the next episode.
Find you some balance in your family.
Balance.
Take time, get together. Use your communication skills.
Do it now.
Pass the offering plate. Try us. We'll see if it